Thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited that you guys are all here. I have a couple things to go over before. I know she said ICAC, that's Internet Crimes Against Children. I just wanted to make sure you all knew that before we get started. And then we'll have some time hopefully for questions at the end. So if you think of anything, write it down on your little notepad or wherever you want, and then we can answer those things hopefully at the end. The other thing I wanted to say, I want to preface this. I noticed there's some teenagers in here. Thank you also for being here. I want to preface this with this presentation has some bad words in it, okay? And I know all your kids probably have heard them. I'm sure that they have, but I don't like to be the one to bring it to them. So I'm just letting you know right now, if that's an issue, please let me know. Not a whole lot I can do. If I remember correctly, they don't say it, but it is written in text messages. So the goal of these presentations is to really give you the reality of what's happening and also to give you a real view of things, okay? I don't want to sugarcoat things for you because that does you no good. And we learn by the hard things, right? We learn by the mistakes that we make as adults and our kids make as kids. And so together, if we look at the reality and ask questions later, then we can figure this out. Is everybody good with that? Yep. Okay. So while you're eating, there's this lovely video that is quite lengthy, okay? But it's very impactful. So we had actually, when we first started this, had asked parents in the initial program, you know, what do you think about this video? Is it too long? Should we cut it? Should we get rid of it? And parents said no. They said it was a great impact for them to see this. So sit back, enjoy the video. Hopefully it works and the sound's good. And then we'll get started. Can we dim the lights? Yeah, I was thinking, can we dim the lights? Yeah, okay. Some of this might be hard to see from where you're sitting. Need to be volume up. Yeah, it's at max. This music. Can everybody read that? Yeah, okay. Because I can't. Oh boy. Not sure. Maybe over there. Okay, so this video is important to us because we literally get these phone calls every day, literally all the time. And our unit specifically, we work as a task force in Colorado Springs, so we work with El Paso County Sheriff's Office. We also work with Homeland Security Investigations. So we have a lot of people working on stuff all the time. And I even sat with a parent last week who was in tears, who called me over the phone and said, I don't know what to do. And as desperate as that parent is, imagine having to be that kid that has to go tell their parent, I messed up. So as parents, I think it's really important that I say this because I know it's really easy for parents to overreact and freak out because who wouldn't, right? Your kid is in this situation where they have created kind of a mess for themselves, right? And that social aspect of it is so damning sometimes. Kids can be very, very cruel. And that stuff just doesn't go away. And so when I talk to parents, I tell parents all the time, this stuff doesn't go away, right? I can't magically take those pictures off the internet. I just can't. But what I can do is help you get through it. What we can do is help you get through it. What we can do is help parents understand how to be there for their kids in these types of situations, because it is happening. It's happening in every school, in every single district. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter how much you think you've talked to your kids. It's happening in every single school. I have been in every single school in Colorado Springs, and like I said, we are a task force that is 99 agencies statewide. That means sheriff's offices, other law enforcement agencies, judicial district attorneys' offices that work with us on all these cases throughout Colorado. So today, we are going to try and get through some of this as quickly as possible while being very informative, okay? I want to make sure that we address Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok specifically. But I'm going to give you some general information first. Go ahead for the next one. So I've talked to you guys already about what we do. So our primary goal, obviously, is to stop the exploitation of a child. I didn't introduce him, but this is Sergeant Mark Inamoto over here. He is the Sergeant of Colorado Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. He has been in this unit for a very long time. He took a small break when he got promoted, and now he's back working with us because he has the passion to help all these kids. Our unit's very close and very small, but we work very hard. And, part of the job is that I get to educate all of you, which makes me really, really happy, because when we have all these cyber tips coming in, all these tips coming in that kids are in trouble, we have to try and reach everybody at the forefront. I can't be in everybody's houses, so I need to talk to as many parents as I can so that you can do what you need to do in your households. Some of these are just stats that we're going to go through. So this is just a report from 2018, just kind of showing what was trending in 2018. So you can see that YouTube was at the top, then Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and then it goes down. Now there's new things, right? There's TikTok, and there's, for the kids in the room, raise your hand if you use TikTok. Are you not allowed? You use TikTok? I have TikTok. It's okay. Adults, how many of you use TikTok? Watch it, maybe not play video. Okay. So this is just a visual so that you can see, as when we talk about percentage of victims threatened for explicit imagery, that means an image that was like what you saw in the video. The girl had sent a video to somebody that she liked, somebody she thought was going to take care of her, and instead his friend probably sent it to everybody he knew or she knew. The average age, if you see, the biggest bulk of age group is 13 and younger. That is still true. Okay, so even though these are older things, the trend keeps continuing. We have a lot of 13 and under kids doing stuff. We're in middle schools, we're in elementary schools talking to parents. And that's because these patterns continue to grow. So this is my favorite imagery, kind of like I want to give you. So one dot represents 100 people, 100 reports, okay? Reports that come directly to us. Sorry, could you go back? So in 1998, there were over 3,000 reports. So that's that little dotted area right there. Go ahead. This is a decade later, nearly the reports soared past 100,000. It's getting bigger.
Nationwide?
Mm-hmm. Nationwide. In 2014, that number surpassed 1 million for the first time. That's nothing. This is where it was at just a few years ago. Now, I'll say, even with this being as drastic as it is, those are the reports that are coming in. So for us specifically, we get every single report that comes through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They come directly to us. So when we're doing these every day, we get what's called cyber tips. Cyber tips, does everybody know what a cyber tip is? I'll go over it. So it's a report that's made to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children that basically says there's a kid in danger. Either they're being exploited online, there's sextortion involved, there's some sort of child sex abuse happening. Those kind of accusations are funneled through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And then if they think, oh my gosh, I think this is in Colorado, it comes directly to us. And so when that happens, we have to vet each one of them, meaning we have to open every single one up. We have to look at the images. We have to decide if it's child sex abuse material. We have to decide on the situation and if it is legitimately child sex abuse material. And then we have to locate the area that it's in. Is it in Loveland? Is it in Aurora? Is it in Colorado Springs? And then we ship it off. So just last year, well, I'm going to back up. Just a few years ago, we were only at about 3,000 cyber tips, and that's still a lot, right? 3,000 just for Colorado. This year, we hit 8,300 cyber tips for Colorado. So that is 8,300 cyber tips that we are actively looking into, and that does not include the reports that are actually coming in from outside. There are people who just report to their local police department. If it meets the criteria of our crime, that also comes to us. So this is a good visual to show you guys how things are kind of exploding. And I want to put this a little bit into perspective. I thought this was kind of funny too. So it says, when the telephone was invented, it took decades to get 50 million global users, okay? So Pokemon Go, I know it's still around because my kid loves it. In 2016, it only took them to get to 50 million users 2.5 weeks. So the internet has created this vast opportunity area where kids just go, and adults, I'm not blaming kids. Adults get on the internet too, and they just have all this access, right? Kids have the access too. Whether you're giving it to them or whether they're finding it, they're having access. So what do? We can't shut down everything. Everything is surrounding the internet. So that's why we're here. We're here to make sure that you guys have the tools that you need, and every single one of you has a packet on your seat. That is the take home for you today. That is going to allow you guys to take home what I'm going to teach you here and apply it in your homes. Kids, you don't want to look at this. You're not going to like this. Okay, I understand this. Most of the time we don't have kids in presentations, but when they are here, I tell them, sorry, I care about you. I want you to be okay. So I'm going to help your parents keep you safer.
Can I get clarification on your number? You said 8,300 just in the 2023, or that was 2022?
2022.
Okay.
So, and that, you know, depending on how you look at it, I mean, we're talking about, these are cyber tips that are coming in that are specifically geared towards child sex abuse material. So a kid is actively being exploited, something, her pictures are being shared, and boys are not excluded from this. This happens, we probably get more calls from boys' parents, boys' moms, and I'm a boy mom. We probably get more calls from those parents saying, my son just shared a picture to a girl he really liked, and now it's everywhere. What do I do? I can't remove the picture. I can only tell you what you can do to help your kid. I can only advise you on what to do from here on out, how to protect your kid on their devices and how to move forward from here. What's happening? So we're gonna actually start with Snapchat. Can you go back one and play this? This is much shorter. All the videos are short from here on out, I promise. Is this one not playing? This is my favorite one.
South Carolina are investigating after an 11-year-old boy took his brother's car and drove alone for 3 hours to meet a man that he met on social media. Surveillance video captures the car pulling into a restaurant parking lot in Charleston. It was 12:30 in the morning, and the 11-year-old was lost and probably tired. So when he saw a police cruiser in the parking lot, he stopped to ask for directions. And he told the officer that he had traveled 200 miles to live with a stranger that he met on Snapchat.
I would love tonight, right now, anybody who's watching this, who's a parent of a child, especially an 11-year-old, to sit down with your 11-year-old right now, right this moment, and have a conversation about what you're doing on social media, the dangers, the benefits, and things that, as a parent, we need to talk about every day.
Amen to that. The boy told police that he lost the man's address when the Snapchat message disappeared from his tablet. The officer called the father, who was in the process of reporting him missing. They are now searching for this mystery man. Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
So did you get all that? This 11-year-old, which at the first time I ever saw this video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a real newscast, and this is an 11-year-old. I have an 11-year-old. And this kid was on Snapchat, met somebody online, which just happened last week. The parent that came to me to talk to me, her daughter was sneaking out of the house with people she didn't know, and it was terrifying. And it happens, right? I mean, this happens to parents everywhere. And so this particular kid got lucky. He just, after driving 200 miles, I'm personally impressed that an 11-year-old made it 200 miles. I mean, but the dangers of that, had he had actually had that address, and the misconception of Snapchat, and it does happen, but it is a disappearing feature. That's why kids like Snapchat, right? Because it disappears. Mom can't read it. They're not going to know about it. It's fine. But when that message disappeared, he no longer had the guy's address. Thank goodness he didn't. And thank goodness he just so happened to pull into a parking lot where there was a police officer who then said, hey, this kid should not be driving. So we're going to go through Snapchat a little bit. So when I go through these apps, we're going to go through the basics. And if you have questions, again, save it. We'll go through it. We'll try and answer them. Those packets are going to give you step by step. The warning with the packets is that Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, they all update their little features, right? So sometimes where it'll say click on the hamburger, which is like those 3 stacked lines, it might be 3 dots now. So be mindful when you go home and you kind of change these settings. If you have trouble, look through the packet, try and troubleshoot it, but also, let us know, because I know this can be challenging and some parents just don't know these features. So Snapchat, it's a free app, obviously. Social media, so you're able to do, the disappearing features of, keeping things kind of more private. Pictures go away. Kids forget about the dangers of what just happened in that video in terms of being able to take screenshots, or also being able to take pictures. If I were to pull out my phone and take a picture of a picture, essentially, kids forget about those kind of things. It is a very, very popular app. It is still very, very popular. I don't see it dying anytime soon. So this is one that we need to keep track of, because we do get a lot of cyber tips from this one. So keep going past this. So this is what it's going to look like when you open Snapchat. Again, some things have been added and changed since this has been made. So understand that I can't keep up with all the changes in every single app, but know that this is going to give you the basic essentials. This is just going to be your navigation tools. So the camera feature, this would be the messaging feature right here. This will be, I believe that's the, what feature is that? Go to the next tool, like click on them. So places, chat, happening now. So those are like, when people are posting stories or businesses are posting stories, and then spotlight is where things of business are highlighted or people want to highlight things. The one thing I want to talk about when it comes to Snapchat, if you don't take anything away from this, please take away this, okay? Every single app that we talk about, every single app that most people have, has something called geolocation on it, okay? It could be SnapMap is the one in Snapchat. And the danger, I'm going to talk to you about the dangers of those, because what predators are looking for is open snap maps. Okay, so when snap maps are, let's say I have my snap map out and I tag myself here right now. And then tomorrow I tag myself at work, because kids like to share everything, right? Kids like to be like, oh, I'm going to Disneyland today. Oh, but here's where I live. Cool, I'm back to my house. Oh wait, I'm going over to my friend's house over here. Oh wait, I'm back home. Okay, what predators do in these situations is if they open up SnapMap and they see this one particular person, and they kind of see them every single day, they know that they live in their area, or they know that they kind of reside in the same zones, they work in the same area, they go to school in the same area. A predator can very easily track your habits. Okay, it's very easy for them to go, well, Trisha goes to work every day at 8 a.m. And every day at 8 a.m., this is the address of her work. I know because I see it on her Snap Map, because she always updates it. And then at 3 o'clock, I know that she's going to be home, or she's going to her friend's house. And then at 5 o'clock, I know she's got gymnastics over here, so she's going to be right here. And then they start tracking your patterns. So now these predators know exactly where you are all the time. And they can track you based on, and this is for the kids listening in this room, I'm telling you, they will absolutely sit there and patiently wait for days to find out locations on that. So when we come to any geolocation services, we want to make sure that your accounts services, your location services are off. And I know that some apps will be like, well, we can't do this until you turn on your location services. Okay, we'll do it for that time being and then turn it off again. Because what you don't want is to give all the strangers around you the ability to track what your habits are or where you are. I don't want anybody to know where I live, but you know, there's ways of finding out. So Snapchat has, you know, this is where it shows you a little bit more. The camera is obvious. That's where you take all your pictures. We talked a little bit about places. And then the second most important feature when you're looking at, I don't want to tell your kids that you're looking at their Snapchat, but I do look at my kids' Snapchat. My oldest has Snapchat and it is on lockdown and I have full access of it. And I will tell you that the chat feature is the biggest thing to kind of learn about. A lot of kids talk in a way that we are not to understand, right? If I talk in emojis, they'll never get it. She's so old, she's never gonna understand that when I send this emoji, this is what that means. So Snapchat, go ahead, because it's gonna get to some of this, okay. So keep it there for a second. No, that's okay. So when we look at someone's Snapchat, we want to learn how to manage what is in there. When you look at their chat, you're going to see that kind of log over that's listed on the side. And you see like there's a heart and you'll see different things. Those emojis will tell you everything you need to know. It'll tell you how long they've been talking to them. If it's a streak, if they've been talking to them for 2 weeks, it'll have a different emoji and it'll explain to you exactly what those emojis mean and how long that they've been communicating with that person. So let's say it's a person they don't know, but you can tell that they've been talking for 2 weeks now. Is that good? It's probably not good, right? See, no, no. It's not good because when you don't know somebody and your kid's been talking to them for 2 weeks, you're like, why? Why are you talking to them? What's happening? We're going to come back to that in a second, but I want to talk about these 3 features. So there's the friend screen. That's normal stuff. That's your normal chat, your normal video, normal calls, because you can do all that in Snapchat. Discovery, that's mostly just, you know, public information. It's newscasts, it's updates, it's whatever. There was a shooting here, there was this. I know, I'm in law enforcement, so we go that way. But then there's memories. And the special feature in memories is called My Eyes Only. So My Eyes Only is a feature that where you, your kids, whomever, can have a password protected private section. Okay, so I didn't even know about I'm busy, but I didn't know about that private section for a very long time until I started doing this. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my kids can hide things from me. This was before my kids had Snapchat. But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like in each one of these, there's usually a hidden feature. My Eyes Only is that for Snapchat. So it's usually password protected. What I tell my kids is if I find a password on your phone and I do not have it, that is no longer your phone. If you want to be honest with me and have your passwords ready, we're good. Because then I know I have access to your stuff whenever I want to do it. Am I going to get into it all the time? No, but it's my right. And I think parents and kids really struggle with that aspect of things is, oh my gosh, I don't want to invade my kids' privacy. Well, if you don't every once in a while, you're probably going to miss something. You're probably missing something right now. So that My Eyes Only area is really important. If you get in there, you find out that they have a My Eyes Only and that it's password protected, there's probably something in there that you shouldn't see. So that's where they usually store those photos that were sent to them or photos that they've sent to other people. And so that's all stuff you kind of want to look out for. Go ahead. So this is what it looks like. Again, it'll have like the phone pad, like where you can punch in the numbers of whatever code that they put in. And again, it's way over, you'll see snaps, stories, camera roll, and then memories, and then it'll be under that area. So that's where you're gonna have to find that. I hate that there's children in here that are like, stop telling her everything. Like, don't give away all my secrets. I'm hoping that that's not the case, but you know, I know a million great kids and stuff happens. Like, kids just hide things. It's okay. We just have to know where. So we're going to go back to that chat feature. So this is where custom emojis come into play. So a lot of parents don't understand that kids can change the meaning of their emoji dictionary. And so when you change the meaning of your emoji dictionary, you're basically rewriting your code, right? You're saying, well, a heart doesn't mean a heart now. Maybe it means something else. Whatever you want it to mean, that's what it means to you. So kids can essentially write their own language in Snapchat. And this is kind of what it looks like. So you'd go to the friend emojis, and then you can see how it says like the friend emojis down here, super BFF, BFF besties, BFF mutual besties. You can change those meanings to absolutely anything you want. And kids will kind of do that sometimes because maybe a heart looks very innocent and fun. But if they change the meaning to it and it means something different to them, then it's not innocent and fun anymore. Go ahead. So this is an example of what I said. It has the 7, the fire, and the heart. So when you look at those emojis, does anybody want to guess what the 7, the fire, and the heart means in this situation? Mm-hmm. One of them is. Somebody? Okay, so that 7 means that they have been talking for 7 days. That fire is streak. That means that they've been talking 7 days consistently. And that heart means, you see it in the dictionary, BFF, right? So when you put all that together, you kind of decode like, okay, let's break this down. How long have they been talking to this person? And when I open my Snapchat, I'm like, okay, I barely talk to anybody, so my Snap is dead. But when you're on it, I have every app I have, if I will have it if my kids have it. Okay, so if I allow it, it's because I have it too and I'm watching things. But when you go down this absolutely gives you what you need to know. Now, if you don't know what their dictionary is, though, what if they changed their emoji guide? We're going to get into that too. So this just talks about how like saving chat messages, like this is exactly what it'll look like. You can save chat messages, you can save photos. What it will do is notify the other person. So that's the good feature about Snapchat, and that's what makes kids have that like false sense of like safety, is they're thinking, well, he didn't take a picture of my picture, he didn't save my picture, because Snapchat would have told me. But again, there are ways around that. And we talked about those a little bit, but we'll get into that a little bit more. We talked about Snap Map. I jumped too soon apparently. This is what it looks like. So again, when somebody's like tagging themselves on Snapchat pretty regularly, it'll have them pinged all over the place, but you can kind of track and see their pattern of behavior.
With the Snap Map, you can see snaps from across the world, or even from the diner right down the street. To open the map, just pinch your fingers like you're zooming out. Tap a hot spot on the map to view snaps that our community has submitted from that area. You can always keep up on big events as they unfold, or see where your friends are if they've chosen to share their location with you. You can choose to share your location on the map, either with all your friends or with just a select few. You can also keep your location hidden by turning on ghost mode. See what's happening, find your friends, and get inspired for your next adventure on Snap Map.
Okay, so I like to think that all these things are so good, right? I actually really think a lot of these features in these apps are really fun and you know, enjoyable, like when you're using them safely. My kids and I will snap back and forth. It's really cute and fun, and I don't care. But you just have to be wary. Everything we do here is not saying, rip that phone away from them. Don't allow them to have Snapchat. Don't allow them any social media. That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying if you decide as a parent to give them these things, make sure you are taking the proper steps so that you are keeping them a little bit safer. We can't solve everything, but we can sure slow it down. So this just talks about, and this is all in your books. This is exactly what it's going to do. It's going to tell you, it's going to show you this screen. It's going to teach you how to put your kid's Snapchat or your own into ghost mode. And basically what ghost mode, it just does that. It turns you into a ghost, right? You still have a presence online, but then nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows where you are, and that's how you want it. I have everything on lockdown because I don't want people to have access to my kids. I don't want people to have access to my home or to my job or to know really anything personal about me because of the fact of A, what I do for work, and B, because it's my business. So I want to keep all of your homes very safe, and this is just part of it. highly recommend for any app we talk about and any app going forward that you guys make sure that you guys are turning those location services off and keeping your accounts very private. Another video, but short.
14-year-old boy victim lives in the city of Milwaukee, so Waukesha sheriffs are investigating, but they're concerned there could be other victims from throughout the area. Using Instagram, posing as a young woman, police say 33-year-old Ryan Soderberg of Wauwatosa was trolling for teen boys to exploit, attempting to get images from mainly juvenile males between the ages of 13 and 17. He's charged with convincing a 14-year-old boy to send nude videos of himself, which were eventually uncovered by his parents. Police traced the fake Instagram account to Soderberg's Wauwatosa apartment and learned more troubling information about their suspect. Ryan Soderberg here with Young Life in Wauwatosa. Soderberg is a youth pastor with the non-denominational Young Life chapter, and until last year was the JV soccer coach and a substitute teacher at Wauwatosa West High School. This case is very concerning for us. It's a crime against a child. Specialized detectives at our agency that took this case took the information and are looking for more. We believe there are more victims and possibly more charges. Detectives are actually out in the field right now following up on leads from other parents who have come forward as a result of this story. Soderberg remains in the Waukesha County Jail. If convicted of exploitation of a child, he faces a mandatory minimum of 5 years in prison. In Waukesha, Nick Ford, WISN 12 News.
The Wauwatosa School District tells 12 News Soderberg coached JV soccer for 10 seasons until 2018. He was also a substitute teacher until 2017. Young Life issued a statement saying Soderberg has been removed from his role and barred from any contact with young people in the organization.
So this case was a situation where the guy was in a position of trust. Yeah? Go ahead. Oh, you couldn't hear. Okay. So basically what happened is there was a man, that soccer coach was actually trolling for boys online through Instagram. And so this is not uncommon, honestly. And he was a coach for 10 years. I think they said 10 years or something. I'm not sure that it actually said whether or not he had any actual victims through his soccer team, but typically there are. I mean, when we look at these cases, it's not always done online. Sometimes it's easier for them to do things online because they're a little bit more hidden until they get to meet up with the boy, the girl, whomever they're meeting. But this is a position of trust, right? This is one that would come across my desk or Mark's desk and go, oh my gosh, we need to act quickly on this. Okay, this is somebody who has access to kids right now. This would be more of an urgent cyber tip that we have coming in. We get a bunch of them. And unfortunately, locating kids, locating suspects, it can be really challenging and tasking. And we're having to rely heavily on internet service providers to help us out. Most of them do a great job, and we're able to locate suspects fairly quickly, especially in urgent situations. But we spend a lot of time on these cases where we're just, sweating trying to find these people so that we can save some kids. But this is not uncommon. We have a lot of unfortunate people in positions of trust. And when we come across those, like I said, it could be anywhere. I mean, we've had, hospital workers, we've had, teachers, coaches, church personnel. We've had varying degrees of people come in and come across our desk with these cases. So a lot of times, and the reason why we are so busy is that these boys, girls think that they're talking to somebody that maybe, is somebody local, a boy, like maybe a teenage girl is looking for a teenage boy, and he promises her that he's also 16 or also 15, and really on the other side of that, he's 45, 50 years old, happens all the time. And I'll just put this out there, in addition to that, I won't say when or how or what, but we do plenty of operations where we easily catch them. Being we're 13 and they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, however old they are, they're not minors. So it's very scary. As a parent, I I think when I first came into this unit 6 years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is so prevalent. And it wasn't even half as prevalent as it is right now. And so as I've seen us, like our cases kind of just explode, especially during COVID and beyond, and I anticipate we're gonna hit just in Colorado, probably close to 10,000, if not more, cyber tips for this upcoming year. And again, like I said, those are only the ones that get reported through NCMEC. The rest of them get reported directly to us. So that number is strictly for the online reports. So most of you, I'm sure, if not everybody knows what Instagram is. A lot of the teenagers, they want, their goal is to get as many followers to, when we go to TikTok, it's TikTok famous, Instagram, it's Insta famous. Everybody wants to make sure that they have that following of people, especially teenagers. It matters so much to them that they're liked and loved and shared and everything else, and that they want everybody to see like the great things that they're doing. And as parents, we want everybody to know how great our kids are, but we don't want them to know it that way. So Instagram is another free app, like most social media is. It's free because they want to draw you in, and and then you all come together and other people pay for your social ability through ads and whatnot. Go ahead. Go ahead. So if you don't have Instagram, this is what it looks like. Does everybody have Instagram in here? No? No? You guys are all like pretty good with this. I'm proud of you all, but we're still gonna go through it. So Instagram looks like this. I personally like Instagram. I'm not on it very often, but it's just something, to share with my family, friends. This again is just, the home page, what it looks like, kind of explaining, that there's a search button so you can search for people or things, topics, whatnot. Those are reels. So reels are videos that people are posting. Shopping, so that could be anything. You could shop for anything on Instagram as well. There's plenty of people who pay for basically online shops, and that's the link to it. And then profile, so that'd be your profile. Activity, that one's important, so please keep that in mind for a second there. That's that heart up there. Activity is the one that we're going to focus on right now, because activity is how you are going to find out what your child is doing on Instagram. And activity is important because there tends to be patterns, and if you see, I'll give you a good example. We'll say a 13-year-old girl is on her Instagram account, and I, as her mom, get on there and I see that she goes to a school of 300 people, but she has 1,000 friends. That's amazing. Where'd she find all these people? So my first red flag as a parent is, who are those people? Who are the other 700? And are all 3 of her classmates really on Instagram? Probably not. So there's probably a whole lot of strangers on her Instagram, right? So then I'm looking to see who's commenting on a regular basis. People have been caught because you see on your 13-year-old daughter's Instagram that 45-year-old Joe, I can use 40s because I'm in my 40s. 45-year-old Joe is commenting every day how beautiful she is, or how cute she is, or I hope you have a good day, sweetheart. But you don't know Joe. He's not a family member, he's not a friend, and your daughter's 13 and he's 45 and he has no business on her Instagram account. Kids typically just go, oh, so-and-so wants to be friends with me. Cool, I'll let them in, no big deal. They're just letting people in right and left because why not? Or they have a completely free page where their Instagram is completely public, so anybody can like and follow, and no approval is needed. So in that case, it's very dangerous, because then basically the way I put it is, would you take your kid, drop them into the middle of a crowd with millions of people and just walk away? Your kid's 6 years old, 10 years old. You wouldn't, right? I hope none of you would. But that's what you're doing when you're just allowing them to have these open forums. You're giving them access to millions of people you don't know from anywhere in the world, and there's no stopping it. Anytime a kid has open access, you're basically just throwing them out to millions and millions of people, if not billions. So, and I'll tell you, a lot of our cases, I kind of bounce around, but a lot of our cases, especially lately, one of the biggest scams that's going around is that same thing with the picture, okay? Send me a picture, they tend to groom online. They're pretending to be somebody that, you know, they really like, and you're kind of bonding over text messages or phone calls or, you know, just instant messages or whatever you're doing. And then you send a picture to somebody you think is another teenager in your town who is bonded with you over something so simple like, oh my gosh, my mom grounded me too. I can't stand her. She's horrible. What a mean mom. She grounded me. She's the worst mom on the planet. And then the other person's like, yeah, my mom too. She's terrible. She grounded me because I said the word the F word, you know, how dare her. And what happens is they create this grooming effect, this bonding effect. And then you send a picture and then bam, they're in another country and they're sharing your picture everywhere. And this is actively happening every single day. We get a ton of phone calls about this all the time. And when we try to track it, and it was going on Facebook for a while too, just fairly recently, where they were hacking into people's Facebook accounts, sending child sex abuse material or other information through Facebook Messenger on your name, and then you're getting busted for it because it's coming to us. So, but we're recognizing these things, right? So we understand what's happening in the world, but we need you to understand that a lot of kids are sending pictures, a ton, a lot. We are so busy with these phone calls. I would love if all these phone calls stopped. It's our least favorite call because there's not much we can do about it. We have crying parents, we have upset teenagers, and there's not a whole lot that we can do. And we want to fix it for you. We want to make sure your picture's never going to be seen again. But unfortunately, once you send a picture, it's out there. And there's not a darn thing I can do about it. There's no police officer in the world who can change it. So keep talking to your kids about that. Keep talking about not sending pictures because the dangers of that are so big and we are getting so many calls over them that you would really help us out if you could get your teenagers not to send pictures.
Where are the bad guys at?
Oh, they are on the Gold Coast. They are on, go ahead, where are they?
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure everyone where it's not because we don't know where they're at, but they're just in areas of the world that are kind of
We can't get to.
can't get to. A whole lot of things from the Ivory Coast, a whole lot of things from Asia, smaller things from Asia.
Nigeria.
So it's very rare that it's occurring and all the bad guys are here in the U.S. It's happening, but a lot of it is based out of the U.S.
Yep, and that's what we're seeing most often now is that we're seeing so many on the backside of things once we figure out where suspect could be, is that they're in another country somewhere. They're heading somewhere. They're not on our turf, so we can't do anything about it. We can't go after the bad guy, and we can't help you not share those pictures anymore because once they're sent, and there's nothing we can do about it. This part of your packet is going to teach you kind of how to monitor that activity. You can set daily reminders, you can set daily time limits for your kids. I can't tell anybody how to be a parent, okay? And I don't even try because I don't think I'm the perfect parent and I don't think there is a perfect parent. But, you know, my kids have absolutely everything every other kid has. I am the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force Coordinator, and my kids have Xboxes and iPads and phones and whatever, okay? This is not about, hey, take everything away. I will keep emphasizing that to you guys because the bottom line is if you guys know how to set these safety features in place, you can solve a lot of these things or at least slow them down. This part of the program will teach you, and each one of these apps has this in it, okay, where it's going to tell you how to set your safety measures into place. It's going to teach you how to set daily limits. It's going to teach you kind of how to put more safety features in there for your child's profile. This is what it's going to look like. So this is SVICAC, so this is out in California. This is, they're the original creators of this presentation. And so this is their actual profile. And this is gonna tell you how many posts that your child has made, how many followers your child has, and how many they are following. So a lot of this can be red flags because you can see if the followers don't match up with the following, you can tell that there's a disconnect, right? that your child might be following 45 people, but if their profile is open and 105 people are following them, how many of those people do they not know? And this comes back to that whole, when you leave your profile open, you're allowing every stranger to come in and see your kids' pictures. And the thing with most of these apps is that when somebody has an open Instagram or really any of these, whenever you have a public picture, anybody can take that picture, download it and save it. It's one of the things I'll talk about with you guys with TikTok, but it's one of those things that when you have that element of, you know, my kid is posting their cute face on Instagram, and then this guy in another country is saving it and downloading it for what? I don't know. I don't want to know. But I have a feeling, and I don't want my kid's picture out there. The bio, so always, 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 always check your kid's bio, because the bio can be, one thing I have talked ad nauseum with my kids about is what the grooming process looks like. And the grooming process is super friendly. It's very attentive and it's friendship. These people who are in the grooming game per se are the people that spend hours, days, weeks, years learning how to do this to perfection. Okay, so when they're learning how to do this, they're like, how do I get to kids? The best way to get to kids is to act like a kid, is to learn about what kids like, is to bond with them. And that whole scenario I just told you about when, you know, oh, I hate my mom, she grounded me. That's real. That's what grooming looks like. It could be like, oh, me too. Your mom's horrible. My mom's horrible. We should be best friends. We're best friends now because we both hate our moms. It goes with all this too. So when you look at someone's bio, the way that this ties in is, look how much Lindsay posted. How much do we know about Lindsay now? We know that she likes to exercise. And we know that she, probably where she's going to work or what she's into, where she lives. We know that she's in Texas. And we know that she's a fitness blogger. So fitness blogger, she probably has other fitness forums, right? She's probably on TikTok doing fitness stuff. She's probably on Facebook advertising her business. It gives a whole lot of information here. And so you always want to check the bios to make sure that your kids aren't putting out, and yourselves too. Do not put out personal information. Again, it's just a gateway for everybody to be flooded into your own house. I'm not inviting a million strangers into my house. So make sure you guys are monitoring these bios. This page in your book is going to give you guys the opportunity to set Instagram to private. Again, kids hate this. Why do they hate it? Because they want to be popular, because they want everybody to see their stuff. They want to be Insta famous. They want to be TikTok famous. They want to earn money. TikTok, you can make money. So kids are like, why would I ever block my account when I can make money? So Instagram's the same way. There was the whole, I don't even know if it's still prevalent, like Insta models, and you know, everyone's an Insta model and this and that. And I mean, TikTok is the same exact way, right? So make your account private, even if your kids hate it. Say, you can have your friends on there. They have to be your friends. You can have your family on there. They have to be your family. You cannot have 1,000 strangers, and here's why. I encourage you guys to have these open and hard conversations. My kids know way too much. And I'll use an example, Halloween. Okay, drugs are not even in my realm of expertise, okay? But Halloween, my 9-year-old son is going through his candy bag and he says, Mom, this looks like fentanyl. Is this fentanyl? He's 9, okay? I talk way too much about real stuff. And I do that because if I don't, who's going to? So we're in a crowd of people and my kid's like, is this fentanyl, Mom? It's so embarrassing. I'm like, okay. But reality sets in. I'm doing the right thing because he asked and because I hear him questioning things. So even if he doesn't want to hear me, he's still hearing me. It's like a Skittle? A Skittle? But there's these colorful fentanyls that I had shown them pictures. When new drugs come out, I will show them a picture. And I will say, if you see this, you do not take it. Look, 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 you know. And so I'm very real with my kids. They probably know way too much. I'm good with it because they're, you know, when it comes time to it, there's been a couple when push comes to shove moments and my kids have adamantly shown up and said, I can't do that, or My mom would kill me. Good. Good to know. So, again, Instagram has the geotag location services. So this goes back to like Snap Map. So just like Snap Map, people can follow you, locate you, kind of track your services, what you're doing, head over and kind of see, is her life like? What is she doing? Again, it just comes back to that. I've seen kids like tag, I went to the ice cream shop on Thursdays. That's what I always do with my mom. And then my girlfriends and I always go to this place or this place. It's just constant notifications allowing the public to see where you are. And when you do those things, again, I can't reiterate it enough. You're just inviting them, come on over. I'll be at 123 Main Street if you want to come kidnap me. Come on, let's go. We want to make sure that we're kind of preventing some of that stuff. Nobody needs to know every detail about your life, I promise. Instagram has a feature where you can do the hashtags on the pictures and everything else. Well, when you're hashtagging things, not only are you narrowing it down for these predators who are watching, but I know that they're in Torrey Pines, because that's what it says right there. So again, way too much information posted. So when you look at your kid's Instagram account, don't just look at their privacy settings, but also look at what they're posting. My kids my oldest, he's the only one with any sort of social media. And for him, it's just Snap. He's not allowed to post anything with his face or body, but he's not allowed to post himself. If he wants to film like his Roblox game and everything's like private, I don't care. But he is not allowed to post himself because I don't want his picture or his videos out there for anybody. This step in your booklet is just going to tell you again how to limit sharing. So everything we talk about today is about privacy, obviously. Just want to make sure we secure these accounts down. Don't take them away if you want your kids to have them, but definitely follow these steps to make them a little bit more secure. Has anybody heard of Finsta? Okay, so Finsta is a person's fake Instagram account. It is tied to their regular Instagram account, typically. And what this is basically, you could see the differences in accounts. If you look at the one on the left, it's very, wholesome and wonderful, and she's eating it in and out, and she's, just posing in really cute sundresses, and she's okay, right? Everything looks nice and good and healthy and everything. And then over here, it just gets a little bit more provocative. Well, it's a totally different, it's the same person. They're both her accounts, but one is for her family to see, and the other one is for everyone else to see. So, so always check those. What happens, and we'll go through how to, I think on the next screen it shows. So that little drop box at the top, you'll see the name of, that would, for mine, it would say mine screen name or whatever. You'd hit that drop down, and then you'd see a secondary account. And that is usually, if the account is tied to your kid, then that's where it's going to be. And it's as simple as dropping it down and clicking on it. And then you're going to see the other side of that. A lot of parents don't know that there is that feature. We all can make multiple accounts. You can make 100 accounts if you want. But ultimately, that is the way that kids tend to tie those. They're like, oh, wait, my mom's following me on Instagram. I'll give her this account. But this other account, I'm going to post what I did on Friday night, but not on my main page. So vanishing mode is, it's a lot like the Snapchat feature of where you think it's just going to go away, right? So you swipe, I believe if you swipe up, it goes into vanishing mode, and you swipe down, it gets out of vanishing mode. And basically that just means that you're keeping your conversations very private and they go away. So a lot of kids have it. Everybody has it. It's a feature on this. But if you start to see that there's lots of blank conversations, there's conversations being had with no content, then that's probably what's happening. They're talking privately. They're talking some secret, under vanishing mode. And that's just a conversation. It's, why do you have to hide things? I highly doubt. I just got a teenager. My kid is 13, and I know he's not going to tell me everything. I'm just not dumb enough to think that my kid is going to tell me everything all the time. They're going to hide stuff. But for me, just these little cues, might prompt me to say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Can we talk a bit? Let's talk about this feature that you have and why you're using it. Go ahead. It's just showing you how it goes. Okay, we're gonna go to slide 58. So I don't know how many of you have heard of Discord. We're not gonna go through it today. It's very complicated, but I advise you, Discord is one that it was initially a game, like a gaming server where people were going to like chat about game stuff. It was all game stuff, and then it became something way bigger. I caution that your kids have it because of the fact that A, we get cyber tips from it, and B, it is a way for usually, let's say, your child's playing Fortnite and they're on their mic and they're talking to other people, and then they connect with somebody that maybe seems like a nice guy because they're in the grooming process, and they tell them, hey, I'm gonna send you a link. Go over to Discord where we can talk. Discord has private servers. It has private areas where they can have one-on-one conversations. Discord can be very, very dangerous because of the security features on it, because of the privacy, and because it's such a big place for predators to go on. You can search terms in there. You can search little boys. You can search little girls. You can search and manage your way into these groups where they're specifically talking about these people. So whether they get flagged or not, doesn't matter. New groups get created, pop up, new pictures are posted. There's forums where they're sharing pictures of kids, of whatnot, like different situations, comparing, also coming together to kind of bond over what they're doing. So big forum for that. Discord used to be a healthier platform. I think it's very dangerous personally. I don't love it. And just because of what I've seen happen on it. And so that's all I'm gonna say about Discord, but I highly advise you, there's also a packet in there about Discord. So it'll give you a little bit more information. If you do allow your kids to have Discord, by all means, please set these security things in place. How much time do we have? Are we good on time?
45 minutes.
Okay, we're good. I wanna allow some Q&A time, so I'm gonna go through TikTok kind of quickly, just kind of some things that are, some more safety features, and then we'll talk some questions and talk about some real stuff. Huh? Go ahead. Yeah.
If you haven't heard of the TikTok app, your children probably have. They might even be on it.
Can you
and you have no idea the potential danger they're in. It's supposed to be a little harmless fun. So what's got parents so worried? There's the problem on TikTok with predatory behavior. Tonight, we put TikTok to the test. Our producer goes undercover, pretending to be a 13-year-old, and the alarming results will stun families. She said I was beautiful. She's 40 years old. We are literally allowing strangers into our children's lives. 500 million people are said to be using TikTok around the world every month, uploading 15-second videos.
Way more now.
Going viral. But as the app's usership grows, so too do the potential risks.
Illegally collecting and exposing young kids' personal information.
TikTok has been making international headlines in recent months over a series of disturbing incidents overseas.
Adults who send children sexually explicit messages are being allowed to stay on the platform.
These reports prompted BBC reporter Marco
I'm gonna pause this here because I know it's hard to hear. Sorry. So the thing with TikTok is that, and we talked about this briefly, is that you can download and save videos. So if a child, and I challenge you, if you do have TikTok, when you're scrolling and you see a kid, stop and pause and look at how many followers that kid has. Look at how many people have commented on that kid's video. If you can see it and you don't know them, then everybody else can see it who doesn't know them. So the problem with that is that we've got very cute little girls dancing and doing things, you know, online because she's just cute and it's okay. And boys doing these cool dance, whatever. These kids are on TikTok because they enjoy it because it's fun. I love watching TikTok, I'm not gonna lie. But I also see the other side of that where there's so many dangers because a kid with an open forum can say, okay, well, I wanna be TikTok famous, that's the big thing. So many people are making a ton of money off of TikTok. It's ridiculous. But they're doing that because they have this open forum. It's okay as an adult if that's what you want, if that's okay with you. But as a kid, you are allowing some stranger in some country to download and save your kid's video. Download and save, download and save, download and save. And you can't do anything about it. Like she said in there, unlike Snapchat and stuff that some things do disappear, the TikTok stuff can be forever because if you don't stop people from downloading and saving your kids' videos, pictures, whatever, then guess what? That person can share with 5 million people, 500 million people. And then now all these people across the world have your video, your kids' videos and pictures. That's not comforting to me. It shouldn't be comforting for you. And when we talk about TikTok, it's like it can be such a fun thing that gets turned into such a bad thing. Is it time? So again, it's another free app. It's a lot of fun. It has, you know, people from all over the world posting videos, some really talented people on there, some really funny people. You can get a lot of entertainment around it. And again, when it comes to kids though, I see so many videos of kids, so many. And if I can see them, everyone else can. So go ahead. So again, that's what it looks like. Sorry, that's what it looks like. That's what you're gonna be looking for on the phone. When you go into it, these are all the buttons, and I think that they've changed a little bit. There's the profile button, inbox, so that's where the messages will be, where you can post videos, where you can search videos, and then the home button, that'll just get you to that screen. So you can find and follow anything. So this particular one, if you look at this, they're searching for the NFL, okay? And then all these videos or the actual NFL page will come up. And then it's as easy as that to just hit follow. So again, even if your kid has a private page, if they choose to allow those permissions to come in when somebody hits follow and it asks them if they want to have this person on their page, if they say yes, then they're gonna have this. So that's why as a parent, it's really important to make sure you are looking. If my kid has TikTok, I have TikTok. I'm following them. If my kid is adding all kinds of people I don't know, I'm asking questions, big questions. Why? If my kid takes their profile off of private, they no longer have a profile. I will delete it so fast. I will take away their phone. This is when I will encourage to take away things, is when your kids purposely go around those parental restrictions. You're doing it for a reason, and they need to understand that they won't, because they're young and they don't get it and they don't understand what a parent's love really looks like at this time in their lives. But as we go through this, that's what we stress more and more. So you can block users and you can also report users. I think report's on the next one. That little thing at the bottom with the circle and that's the block button. And report. So I tell every kid when I do a presentation with kid, and I will tell parents the same thing, block and report anybody who says anything inappropriate or, you know, just something that's a big red flag. And why do we want to block? Because we want to make it stop. Why do we want to report? Because we want to prevent it from happening to other people. If this is happening to your friend who's 13 and you want to make sure it doesn't happen to the next 13-year-old, you need to report. It doesn't mean they're not going to make another account. It doesn't mean they're not going to do it to someone else through something else, other avenue, but you're doing your part and you're stopping it at the source that you have right in front of you. So I tell kids all the time, block and report. You're saving your best friend. You're saving some other kid from ending up in the same situation that you're ending up in right now. Always go through, there's, again, all this is in your packet. Change privacy security settings. I highly advise to keep TikTok private so you don't open it up to those millions of people.
What's up, guys? If you're being bullied on TikTok, I have a hack for you. First things first, click the three dots up here. Then go to privacy and safety. And go to the section that says comment filters. Make sure this section is turned on green. And then you can literally add any word that you never want to see again. And there you go. You never have to see those negative words ever again. Oh, keep it positive on the TikTok.
So that's her TikTok. Keywords are important because you can block out words like pornography, okay? Something like child abuse or whatever you want to put in there. You can block out these nasty words so that it prevents not everything's foolproof, but it will do a very good job about blocking out those words for your kids so that they are not subjected to those kind of videos. There are videos out there that are super inappropriate, and unfortunately on any social media platform you're going to get that no matter what. So this has a good feature. This is my favorite feature. It's like a kid's worst nightmare. You can control your child's TikTok access from your phone. So you can connect your TikTok with their TikTok and control their TikTok. And you won't be able to control all the content and stuff, but you can block things. And you can monitor things a little bit closer. This is actually, it should be in your packet. If it's not, I will email this particular slide out so that you guys have it. And then that way you guys have this ability to kind of connect. A lot of kids get TikTok. Sometimes you don't even know they have TikTok. It's super easy to set up. So please monitor that. And if you can, make sure that you tie it to your own. If you cannot tie it to your own, please make sure you download every single app you allow your child to be on and follow them and monitor it from there. Okay, so the rest of your packet I'm going to leave for you guys. It's setting parental controls. It goes over Apple and Samsung, kind of, I think it's Apple and Samsung. And then it'll give you some basic cell phone prevention, some basic parental control methods for you. So go through those, see if there's anything you need to do. I know it's a lot of information, maybe a lot of it's stuff you already knew, and I hope that I gave you something new. But please, at this time, I would love for you guys to ask any questions to myself or to Sergeant Inamoto and let me know. What are you guys thinking? Yeah, you good? Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you guys are saying you guys are identifying a crime, right? When you guys label yourselves like that, right?
So,
but you didn't really talk about what are the consequences.
We can talk about some of that. Yeah.
Because I think that's important because children kind of take us for granted. What are the consequences of you being when they actually find you guilty, and because there is proof, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I didn't really see that.
Sure, we can go over some of that for sure. So I'll go over a couple things and then I'll have Sergeant Inamoto jump in because he knows a lot more about that side of things, the final outcome. But there's a couple different things. When we're talking about, for instance, and this is good for kids to know, when you're sharing pictures, if you share a picture that someone has sent you, then now you're contributing to that exploitation, which means there's consequences for you, okay? So I tell kids all the time, anytime you get a picture, please, bring it to your parent, bring it to law enforcement, do what you have to do, stop it in its tracks, because you want to make sure that if that was your friend, you wouldn't want your friend's picture to be all over the place. You saw how quickly in 24 hours that particular picture spread. You don't want to be part of it because there's real consequences if you're part of that sharing, okay? And I'm not sure if you want to talk about that a little bit more, and then we'll talk, Juvenile, sextortion kind of thing. And then we'll talk about the predator side of things.
I Historically, here in the Springs, there was a class hosted by the DA's office that if you were caught exchanging images as a minor, high schoolers, they had to spend like a Saturday afternoon for about 4 hours having to hear a awful long, internet type of safety presentation. So that
Not like
was
this
their
one.
punishment was to spend a weekend talking with the DA. That class kind of went away, but I believe they're working on some sort of a replacement class for that. Now, as a juvenile, you could get charged depending on the elements of the crime. So it kind of goes by case. It can go all the way up to like a misdemeanor 1, which is the highest level of a misdemeanor if you are a high schooler, let's say, and you have images of a friend and you share those images without your friend's consent and pass those on and on and on. That can be considered a crime, which means that you have to get a summons in court. You have to go appear in court before a judge and go through the whole court process with that. And that's pretty much kind of the main punishment, I guess, for a juvenile who's sexting.
Yep. And I can tell you that I used to have part of a different presentation where it told you like different states have different rules, and there are some states that are very, very strict. So if you're communicating with people, in other states, just know that those penalties could be worse or lighter.
And just with that, the whole thing for juveniles here in the spring is that we want to educate. So I say punishment, it is, but at the end of the day, under 18, as being a minor, the courts want to see that minor go on and learn from his or her mistakes, So if you're concerned about a court record or whatnot, probably not. It's going to be a stern talking to, slap on the wrist, and just to stay out of any trouble until, he or she's an adult, I guess.
Yep. And so, like he said, the hope is that the judges are looking to say, well, we don't want to put away your minor for, something pretty major, that if it was done as an adult, the charges would stick and be much more stern. And so on the other side of that, when we're talking about predators and kind of their sentencing, it's hard in Colorado. We have a constant uphill battle. I feel like we work really hard on these cases sometimes just to see them go home after one night in jail. So that's the problem that we're facing constantly, is that we want to see that change. We're not the people to change it, unfortunately. We can provide statistics and information, but we can't change that. You guys can, but it's something that we see as once we catch them, they'll have a record for sure. Some of our offenders are previous offenders, so it depends, like their punishment varies based on if they have previous offenses. And so sometimes it's not lucky, but sometimes we see that they've been a previous offender and their punishment is worse. But a lot of times, sometimes it's supervised probation, especially for a first-time offense, and that is child exploitation here in Colorado. So it can be that, like I said, we arrest them on a Thursday and they see the judge on Friday and they're out on the weekend. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about that. I'm pretty...
No, I think that's accurate. I think probably the biggest punishment that we have for the state as a whole is that they become an RSO, so they become a sex offender. Which most of the guys, and I say guys because pretty much most of the folks we arrest are males. They have to live with that, having to go in either on an annual basis, monthly, quarterly, and going in and having to register as an RSO at their local police department. But she's absolutely right. Most times, the folks we arrest spend normally one night in jail, and they see a judge, and then the judge issues them a bond. The bond is normally super low. If you get a bond and a bondsman,
And then sometimes down the line we see them again. So repeat, and it's unfortunate, but that's why we have to talk so much to you guys, because they're out there, they exist, they're absolutely everywhere. My sister is one of those naive people. I love her, but she's definitely like, oh, not my small town. I'm like, okay, all right. I'll get the stats for your area. And it's not that I want to put the fear into anybody. It's the awareness is important, and just having that ability to say, okay, I know what's going on here, so I'm going to take extra steps. I'm not going to live in fear. I don't live in fear, and I live and breathe this stuff. I do not live in fear. I have a very happy home. My kids are pretty fearless, but with restrictions, they understand. So I keep talking to them. I will continue to, and I hope you guys do too. Does that answer kind of what you were looking for? Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
So I see on this packet it talks about like child-proofing your phone and stuff like that. What's the best way to do that with like internet browsers? That's like my biggest hurdle right now, because I have a 7 and a 9-year-old.
Okay.
They don't have phones. They ain't getting them for a long time. Yeah, like if like our kids need to do a research project on Google, I mean,
well,
it's challenging. I don't know how to really, because it seems like you have to private like every little aspect of the computer, and it's like hard to understand for me sometimes.
You do and don't. So what I do, and I can tell you what I do in my home, and we can't endorse any products, but I do have monitoring software on my phone that allows me to monitor what's going on and block out things in my household. Okay, ones that I've used Custodio, I've used Bark, I currently use Custodio, but for me, I'll just give an example. It can be kind of frustrating because like today, I got a notification on my phone that said my son was blocked for mature content. Okay, it blocked it, thank you. But that's why we have these services, right? Because I have a 9-year-old and he's looking up stuff maybe for school. He says it was for his American Heart Association website. We'll see. But all in all, you have these software programs that will help not only block it out, but also tell you what they're looking at. So it helps. I highly recommend that. Sometimes you can get it just through, like, I think Xfinity has one on their modems maybe. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me, but I seem to believe that there's something there that you can use some sort of monitoring service. But I do pay for a program. It's like $50 a year, and it blocks out a ton of stuff. So, and there's a ton of them out there. I'm sure they're all equally great. It just depends on what kind of features you want. So do some research, but I totally use monitoring software on all devices in my house, every single one of them. So, yeah. Anybody else?
I was just going to ask, so my kids are also young and don't have phones, and won't for a while, and you spoke to more of the like current generation, but are there any specific safety features for Facebook in particular?
Facebook.
That you consider, other than like the common sense things that
right.
apply to all of us?
Facebook, honestly, it's been a while since I've reviewed like the safety features. For Facebook, I would say that, if they have the messenger, use the kids' messenger. Even that isn't foolproof, but it's very, very good. My youngest does have kids' messenger. That's all he has. He doesn't have Facebook, but he does have the messenger feature. He talks to his cousins on it, and that actually shows through my phone who he's talking to every single day, and I have to physically approve who gets to talk to him at any given time. And then Facebook, I think like any other social media platform, it just has its obvious safety features that you need to keep hers private, because that's the biggest thing is if people forget to leave their stuff private. And Facebook's one of those things that has all these elements of like information, right? You can determine if you want everybody to know you're single, if you want everybody to know you're married, if you want everybody to know your name, your full name, your hometown, your whatever. And I actually learned the hard way coming into ICAC that my profile was very open. And I don't remember who actually, one of my team members, pulled up my profile and was like, Trish, we know where you used to live, we know where you live, we know where you worked for the last 10 years, we know everything about you. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I wasn't thinking, I'm an adult, what's the big deal? So But when your stuff is so open like that, you're also exposing your family. And so for you, for kids, go in there, make everything private. Your friends, your family, we even have, shorten our names, change our names, whatever. But your friends and family are going to know who you are. When people want to follow you on social media, they're like, hey, do you have Facebook? Sure do. Here you go. You can have it. So I don't have anything detailed for you like that. There's been no like red flags on my end that have said, hey, do X, Y, Z. Have you heard anything or seen anything? I haven't really. So
My teenager just agreed that only old people use Facebook.
Yeah.
that's pretty much the generation. I am on Facebook. So I get it, and I know that it is drastically pulled away from the younger groups. I totally agree. So mostly adults on there. So I don't know. And then these trends will change in a week.
I figure like by the time my kids have phones, it'll probably be all different.
It'll be totally different. But again, these things are pretty uniform. When you look at new apps, when you look at anything, there's usually always something here. There's usually a geolocation. There's always location services on everything you use. Even if you want to shop at Walmart on your phone or Target on your phone, it says, do you want to show your location? No, I don't. I just want to put in the store I want to shop at. But you can't. Put in your location services. So every single app that you're going to be involved with is going to have some variation of the safety features that we went over. And the key ones are making sure that your snap map, geo maps, any sort of geolocation services are off. Don't want people following you or knowing where you are. And then also keeping any private information. Don't put those bios in full form. Don't tell them like I live at 123 Main Street. Don't tell them you work at wherever. That's just not information you need to put out there for any safety. So if the trends evolve, which they will, and we will adapt with this presentation as well when the trends evolve. Right now we're still seeing a hot mess of these kinds of cyber tips come through, so it's still very relevant. But let's say a new app comes out tomorrow and it's all the kids can talk about, we'll be learning about that and posting about that as well. So
I don't know if this is in your guys' like field. This is like a newer thing to me. What is like air tags? And how can they follow you? Like, I don't understand air tags.
I'm not as versed on air tags. So Bluetooth.
Yeah, so that's why you don't need an access point to the internet. So if you actually do a search online about Bluetooth network points, it's kind of interesting. There's a whole lot of nerd stuff out there that'll kind of show you all the different things that are out there that are actively giving off their Bluetooth network, and there's also a lot of ad hoc networks out there that you can make between devices that will actually never actually be actually on the internet. So that's what it is that the air tags and the tiles are actively pinging on your device's Bluetooth, maybe like a speaker Bluetooth, computer Bluetooth, so it's giving you kind of approximate location where it is, since Bluetooth itself, there's not a huge wide range. So if I had my Bluetooth speaker here and I was over there, it probably wouldn't work. So that's why it works with air tags, which just kind of gives you an idea of where your luggage is or where your phone or wallet's at, just kind of approximation.
And other people's stuff, right? If you're like
Yeah,
near their stuff.
there's a lot of different ways out there to track things via Bluetooth. I mean, just with phones in general and Bluetooth, I mean, there's so many ways for someone to be tracked out there. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
You can set your privacy settings with air tags though too. Like we have air tags on our dogs because they use this
I have heard that before.
Set like a setting on it though that only you can see the tag, like other people can't.
Never getting my kids' phones ever.
You're gonna do stuff. I mean, people are gonna hack into something. People are gonna hack into something.
I know. And it's just, none of this can be entirely stopped, and it's unfortunate, but again, we just do our best on the front end. And I'm a parent, first. I work full-time in internet crimes against children. I go home and I carry everything home and say, you know, this is what I need to do to keep my household safe. It sounds like it's like a total jail. It's not. It's very fun and loving, and my kids are not unhappy. They're, you know, but they understand that there's these rules. These are your parameters. Stay within them and we're good. Step out of them, we're not, you know. But I don't have a problem having these open conversations about dangers. You shouldn't either. Please show them, well, do what you want, but I show my kids, like, I don't give them details maybe, but I will tell them, hey, mommy, you know, went on a warrant tonight and, you know, this is a really bad guy, you know. So, and he was on Discord, you know. And it's not to scare them entirely, but it's to help them understand that this is not just happening over there. It happens here. And unfortunately, because the internet is everywhere, it doesn't matter if it's here or there, because there can talk to here. And so it's just a matter of putting it into perspective over and over and over again. It is normal conversation in my house. It just is. And I think while it can be really, you know, tasking, and my 13-year-old rolls his eyes all the time, and, you know, I don't care. Because at some point, it's going to trigger. At some point, my words are going to signal to him that he needs to do something different because he's in danger. And I'm good with that. So. Anybody else?
Do you see anything like the trends towards, like they just talked about with, like heading this exploitation heading towards something worse, like trafficking or other issues? Are they having that with the kind of the exploitation as like kind of a entrance into that for kids at all, or is that do you not see that as much, or is that kind of a separate realm?
Yes.
It's a big question.
So I would say probably the best answer is two separate realms, but they do for sure interact at times between the two. So if you have a child that's being
Groomed.
in a group trafficked, then for sure that the act of exploitation would absolutely, you know, most likely occur from that point. On our end, what we're seeing is not human trafficking on our end, you know, but we do have the HT unit that does all that type of stuff for it. In fact, it does happen, but it's just kind of one of those. Sometimes it crosses over, and sometimes it won't.
Yeah, they still are two separate entities, or problems. But you know, on our side of the house, we're dealing with all child exploitation, child sex abuse. So that's the kind of stuff that we're looking for, or stuff that's being brought to us, and the cases that we're seeing every day. So, and we're slammed with cyber tips. Unfortunately, it's busy, and we do all the monitoring for the entire state. So because we see every single case that comes through our desk, and then we get to send them out. So.
And I don't want to be graphic by any means, but a lot of the cases we're looking at, you know, for sure we're still trying to focus on the high school age victims and even the middle school age victims for sure. But a lot of the ones we are going after, because the amount of cases we have, we're talking going into elementary school or younger, and just going after those folks that are trying to exploit that age range.
Yep. So, I mean, really no kids off balance, you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, what would you do for, like, I can't even say it, the
Roblox? That's okay.
Minecraft, or like what,
Mhm.
'cause I don't even understand it, and my kids are like, can we play Roblox? I'm like, no.
I know. Kids love it. My 13-year-old plays Roblox and has played Roblox for many, many years.
Okay.
So there are also security settings that you can go in and set in there. But there's a lot of opportunity for open forum and conversation in Roblox.
Are you guys seeing like predators from those?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, if you have any type of a game on your computer,
Let's see.
Xbox, your PS5, whatever, there's always going to be a chat function on there. So kids will use that chat function to talk to their friends, and what do you think all the bad guys are doing?
Right.
You know, so if you are on Xbox playing a game on Call of Duty, if you are on a game that is meant to be just for like kids that are like 8 or 9 years old, there's always going to be a chat function in the background that it just happens.
There is opportunities within most of these apps where you can turn off chat feature. So if you're concerned about your kiddo talking to other people through these chat forums, then make sure you turn off the chat feature. Now, some games will not allow you to play the game without the chat feature on. I've experienced that with my own kids and had that battle for days of why can't I play this game? Well, you can't because I don't want you chatting. Now, that being said, it's not all bad, but you have to decide on your own in your own household if that's the boundary you're okay with or not, you know, and within that, you know, you monitor things. Again, like if you can't open up your kid's computer or whatever device they're on and look at their chat and be okay with it, you gotta decide on some other decisions to hammer that down a little bit more. But there usually is in every type of Minecraft, Roblox specifically, there's a chat feature and you can turn that chat feature off. So.
I keep hearing like things about Roblox and I'm like, we're moving off the grid, we're moving into the wilderness.
Well, the problem is that bad guys will find any type of
It doesn't matter.
You know, so I'm surprised on some of the reports we get from what caught me a couple years ago was Pinterest. I'm like, would you?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like,
She's like, no, I'm not going to be on Pinterest anymore.
I mean, that's the thing. It's just that,
Chickens and pigs.
you know, it's built for a good purpose, but bad folks will always find a way to, you know, make their attempt to exploit it for something bad.
And again, it comes down to like having really, you know, how much privacy you want in your life. And, you know, how much lockdown are you going to keep your kids? Like, this is, the reality is we were just talking about this. I said, I don't take everything away and I don't have everything on full lockdown. And I don't because I know my kids are going to go outside of my house and just like we did, don't lie. I know I did, okay? We do things as we're teenagers. We're not proud of it. We make mistakes just like your teenagers are going to make. And then you move on, right? But unfortunately, our kids have this huge thing called the internet. It was around before you talk about my age. It was around when I was young too. But it wasn't as vast as it is now. And there's so much access that's like, okay, please, the kids were not waiting on dial-up now. They're not waiting for that little thing to click on. They wouldn't be playing their games. Nobody is, right? So today, our kids are just in this pot of like, this is just what they have. Their friends all have Roblox. Their friends have Minecraft. Their friends have Fortnite. Their friends have all the things. And so they're going to play it at your house under your rules. They're going to play it at Jimmy's house with no rules. It's
Never going to Jimmy's house.
don't go to Jimmy's house. Poor Jimmy. Yeah, so yeah, I know it's stressful and it's hard enough being a parent today. It really, really is, but you guys are doing a good job. I know it. And it's just a constant, like, none of you should go home tonight and be like, dang it, Trish, I can't sleep tonight. I gotta do this. I want you all to go home and know that there's help, that there's resources. If your kid does make a mistake, kids are gonna make mistakes. Be the person that they can come to for those mistakes. If you close that gate and you make them feel like there's no hope in the world, they're not gonna be the one to say, hey mom, this picture was sent to me or I sent my picture out. You need to be the one that they bring that to. You need to be the one so that you can help them stop it from getting any bigger, any further. And I think my kids know that. I'm not saying they'll ever tell me everything. There are some things I don't want to know, okay? But I would hope that my kids would be able to, at least about this stuff, be able to come to me and say, all right, mom, I know you told me not to. I did it anyways. I'm 13. Leave me alone, you know? So just be that person for your kids. And then, you know, if you guys need resources, NACMAC is a great resource. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has a website. They are fantastic for educational resources. We get a lot of our material from them. This is totally separate from them, but they are awesome We work directly with them, and honestly, they are constantly updating resources. You can also get real-time stats there. Well, not real-time, but like for the previous year, to kind of see how many cyber tips there are nationwide, how many cyber tips are in your state. We post stuff too. We have social media. We have a Facebook page, and we have an Instagram page, and we have a website. ICAC Task Force, or Colorado ICAC.com is our web page. And if you go onto that, we put a lot of external resources from NACMEC on there as well. So I don't need likes and follows, but definitely come over, check out our resources.
What was that first website you were talking about?
The Colorado or NECMEC? So ncmec.org. No? Is it?
Missingkids.org.
Oh, that's right. Missingkids.org. Sorry. Too many websites.
And then you guys' website is Colorado ICAC.
ICAC.com. ICAC. So that is all. Is there, let me see here on the back. Looking at the back of this, because I think on the very back, yeah. So there's some extra resources in this packet too, but definitely go to our website and check it out if you guys need anything. And then anything else? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, officers. Appreciate it. Parents, as much as we might want to say that our kids are never going to, they have friends. And even if you don't, if you don't give them a phone, their friend has a phone. If you don't allow them to play a game, their friend has a game. So don't just say that this will never happen. Just more so, keep your kids educated and let them know the dangers of this. Not only, we're talking about certainly these websites or whatever, but the gaming industry is huge and so forth. Certainly the internet is huge. Kids start a search for something and then pop-ups come on there. And all you gotta do is click it once and then it'll just keep popping up with pornography type things and whatnot. So it goes beyond, sometimes innocently our kids see things or click on something or they're listening to something, and we just have to be careful. So have the conversations with them. And for the students that are here, take this to heart. This is not play, this is real stuff. And when we don't have the real honest conversations with our kids and say, this will never happen to our kids, then they're going to explore it sometimes with somebody else. Because all somebody has to say is, it's not a big deal. Your parents will never know. It's just this one time. And that then leads them down the path. Okay, so thank you, scholars, for being here today. I know you didn't have a choice to drive, but thank you for being here because I think you hearing it, you can help educate others. But take this packet of information. This was really some great information. Thank you. The other thing is that texting. There are so many text messages that we as parents don't know what they mean. I used to think LOL was lots of love. And my kids laughed at me because that's not what it, it's not bad, but it means laugh out loud. And I'm like, oh, people are saying lots of love to me. And they're like, Mom.
My 9-year-old last night said, that's angry. And I was like, that's what? And he goes, that's aggressive. That's what that means, angry. I was like, why can't you say a full word? We're speaking full words. You're an honor student. Let's get this together.
Just like the emojis on these social media sites, the text messages that have meanings. And they know when a parent is coming, they put a message out there, parents over my shoulder. Just educate yourself And then ask your kids. I mean, I used to just say, what does this mean? I want you to go through all these text messages and tell me what they mean. Or tell me that you know what they mean. And in some cases, they didn't know what they meant. For some of them, they were like, I was like, no way, nobody does that. They say, yeah, they do. Okay. So we do these types of sessions to educate you, not to scare you, but to make sure that you're just aware of what's out there. Predators are everywhere, and many of the people who create these games and all of that, I hate to say it, some of them are predators and looking for opportunities to connect with children. So, okay, with that, we got tons of food over there, so gluten-free, vegetarian, whatever. Please take all that food out of here with you tonight. And I know they've got some door prizes to give out, so let's do that.
All right.